We're picking up from when the detective just started to show Sarah the video from her phone. I hadn't seen the video. I went and looked, and so now we continue.
The battery doesn't last very long.
Yeah, it used to last a lot longer than that. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Let me just grab something.
All right. No, I was just simply asking because you had a look on your face when she asked you if you've ever done that before. You looked kind of shocked and...
No.
Okay, but why did you say it like that? Like...
I don't think you all understand who I am, where...
Okay. Well, tell me.
I mean, I've always been a straight-A student. I am an outstanding mother to my son.
Okay.
I excel at everything.
She's an outstanding mother to her son, but she's completely unreliable, according to her ex-husband. She's drunk a lot. She doesn't pick him up when she's supposed to. She brings him to a home where there's violence and fighting, and sometimes has to call her ex to come pick up the child because the situation in her house is too volatile. And you can be a straight-A student and still have other problems.
I would not do that.
You wouldn't lock somebody in a suitcase?
Well, I didn't, completely lock it.
I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't do what? She's saying the only thing that happened was that they were playing a game. So what is it she didn't do?
I mean, I opened it with one finger. I left enough in there for him to get out.
Okay.
And I wasn't planning on going upstairs and going to sleep.
She wasn't planning on going upstairs and going to sleep. So then why did she walk up those stairs? Remember, it's not like she sat down beside the suitcase on the couch or something and then happened to fall asleep there. A lot of us have done that, sat down to watch TV, sat down, rest your eyes for a minute, and you're out, whether you're drinking or not. But she had to walk up the stairs and leave him there. So you can't say that walking away and walking up the stairs is unintentional.
No, it was just the way you said it.
You guys are scaring me.
Why?
Well, we just want you to watch this. This came from your phone. Don't you want to know what's on it?
Yes, please. Is it long? Because I don't know how much I can take.
No.
If it's something on her phone that she filmed and she doesn't know how much she can take, what does she think it is? I thought she didn't remember. Thought she doesn't know what's on her phone. Her phone that's password protected and you need the facial recognition.
I don't know how much I can take.
I don't know how to find your...
Do I have to watch this? I continuously throw up.
Does she have to watch it? I thought she didn't know what it was.
I don't sleep. I don't want to see it, if that's okay.
Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it or we take it for what it is.
Yeah. We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
It's that long?
2 minutes.
No.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you.
And this
Fuck
is,
you.
that's you, your voice.
Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it up. I can't fucking breathe it. Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
This isn't fun. He's not having fun. He's begging to be let out. He's telling her, I can't breathe. It's actually before that moment that she made a decision. Nobody can say that the problem is that she fell asleep. She made the decision here to not let him out. She knew, and we know this because she indicated in a previous conversation with a police officer, that she knew that this could cause suffocation. And he's saying, I can't breathe, and she's not letting him out. This is not about going and falling asleep. This is about her being mad and wanting to hurt him. The other thing I notice is that she says, that's how I feel when you're choking me. So that lets us know that the history of IPV went to that level. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that if this behavior is occurring, that it's a warning sign for homicide. And we're hearing that the relationship was terribly dangerous for both of them. Having said that, revenge is different from self-defense.
I don't want to watch it, please.
Last time we talked to you, you had said that you put him in the suitcase, you had 2 fingers hanging out, and you
I
went to
flipped him
bed.
over.
Before we go on and we hear more from her, recall that she just said a couple of minutes ago that she doesn't remember anything on her phone, that she took a picture of a dog on Sunday, and she made it sound like she doesn't remember taking any video. Well, listen, if somebody told you that you took a video or that you did a thing and you don't have any memory of it, wouldn't you want to know? And she doesn't want to see it. She doesn't want to deal with that. And she knows that her not viewing it isn't going to make it go away. It's not going to mean that the detectives suddenly don't have it. She can't accept what she's done in a way that makes her accountable. Everything.
I flipped him over, and that's where it was.
There's 2 different videos and a still picture where, yeah, it shows you flipping him in different positions and him saying that he can't breathe and you saying fuck
So
you.
this is upside down. So in order for him to have gotten into it,
It was flipped up.
right, it was flipped up normal.
Yes.
Like as if you're packing something. So this is upside down.
Guys, this is killing me right now.
So this image is upside down, and then this small video that occurred 11 minutes later, it's flipped over the other way.
The second video is 11 minutes later. This was a prolonged event. She didn't put him in there and then go upstairs and go to sleep. She tortured this man on purpose.
Closer to your dining room table.
Okay.
Now he's obviously still in there. So he didn't, how did it go from the back to the front?
I flipped it.
Okay.
I flipped it. Like, of course. She says it with the emphasis, and she's saying it like it's some sort of a normal thing, like it's obvious. She's saying it like it's okay. When she does that thing where she's emphasizing, it tells you that she knows that there's something wrong. She knows she's done wrong. She knows she made those choices.
It was not to go upstairs and go to sleep,
Well, that's what you did.
Yeah.
but not intentional.
No, you told me you went upstairs because
What?
you were
Stop
getting
here.
ready for bed.
How do you unintentionally walk upstairs? How do you unintentionally do that? How do you unintentionally say F you to the guy while he's begging to get out? How do you unintentionally continue to confine this man while he's telling you he can't breathe? How is that unintentional? She's trying to do the same thing with her excuse as she did with hiding time. She's skipping over the most important thing and saying, but I fell asleep. So how much torture did she think was enough?
Bed.
Stopped here.
Okay,
Where's
but
here?
Show me where you can see any fingers coming out, because there's the end.
It's, and his head's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So going like this, rather than going all the way up, it's like this.
But why is he saying I can't breathe, and why is he pushing on it as if he can't get out?
And it doesn't show a hole.
There's no hole. There's no fingers. I don't see his fingers. There's no hole.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know, like, what you want me to tell you.
I'm just showing you. I'm just telling you what we see and what we've heard from.
You see the stress? She's doing this, and now we've got this almost like pleading hands. What she's really saying is not, I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's, good God, I need to, how do I say something that's going to actually get me out of this? What can I tell you that's going to get you to back off?
The
I
other video.
understand.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning, and then in the end, it sounds kind of like a.
No, it's not malicious.
Well, saying fuck you,
It's not malicious.
then what is that?
The detective actually didn't say malicious. The detective said, and then in the end, and Sarah jumped in with the, no, it's not malicious. The detective didn't say that yet. Sarah knows what she's done. She knows what she intended. I'm not saying she intended to kill this man necessarily, but she certainly knew that she was hurting him. She certainly intended to do that. She knew he couldn't breathe. She knew that it could cause suffocation. She was angry. She's admitted to wanting him to squirm. And now she's the one that brings out malice, because that's what it was.
What does fuck you mean to you?
Well,
Like if I were to tell my
like he
partner.
does. Like, I get told everything but a white woman, so
Okay.
my intention was not to leave him in there.
But she did.
Please understand that. My intention was not to leave him in there.
But you went upstairs thinking that he could get himself
Yes.
out, but the video shows
That's
at
what I
no
told
point
you.
can I see his fingers. And
He'll
it
be up
looks
here any
like
minute.
And then 30 minutes later, he didn't show.
And he's telling you
And I
he
didn't
can't
wake
breathe.
up.
Do you
He's
think
not
he's
able to get
joking? You told me he was laughing, and
We were
the
before.
video, there's no
When we
Before.
first got in there, both of us were.
So how long was he in there for? Like, this video is at 11:12 when it starts, so was he in there for like a long time prior to you recording this?
No. No.
So it goes from funny to no longer funny,
But
and
I
you're
didn't,
the only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he was, like, panicky. Like,
So pushing up on a suitcase saying, Sarah, Sarah, Sarah,
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before, too, where it's just like he thinks that he's woe is me kind of thing, where it's like, I don't
He's
think-
never been locked in a suitcase. That's
No.
where he couldn't.
It's not intentional. Well, yes, it was. I didn't intend to leave him. Yes, you did, because you did. It was quite some time before she actually walked away. Maybe she didn't intend to leave him all night, but I don't know what she thought was going to happen, what she was going to do when she finally let him go. The second that he says, let me out, I don't want to be here anymore. That second, when she doesn't let him out, that's where the intention is. That's her choosing to abuse him. That's where it's clear that she intends harm. So any argument after that is pointless. And I forget my other point. Let me go back.
You're funny,
But
and
I
you're
didn't-
the only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he...
She earlier in this interview acted like she knows him better than he knows him. So she's controlling, and this is one of the things that happens with controlling people. Even if they seem to mean well, they think they know what you want. They think they know what you think and what you feel. And they act accordingly. And usually, conveniently, it aligns with what they want. But that's a different conversation. So what he says that he needs, and what he wants and how he feels and whether or not he wants to talk and whether or not he wants to do puzzles or whatever else the issue is. She believes that she is the one to make the determination as to how he feels and what he needs and what's going to happen. She overrides the man's autonomy, not just physically, but psychologically. And then she also uses it as an excuse. And this is a subtle blaming the victim.
Panicky. Like,
So pushing up on a suitcase saying, Sarah, 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 I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before, too, where it's just like he thinks that he's woe is me kind of thing, where it's like,
He's never been locked in a suitcase. That's where he couldn't get out. So
it's kind of, I thought it was
and
the
you know
boy
the oxygen
crying wolf kind of thing.
Okay.
And again, my plan.
But nowhere in there is he laughing, is he joking. He is begging. And you're the only one laughing.
Okay.
And you're the only one saying derogatory comments. Like you're mad.
No. Please don't, I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but like it's like you guys are kind of trying to like feed me. Like,
no, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
Well, I know what.
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
No.
Why don't you remember making the video?
Probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
No. Just because I went upstairs and...
Exactly. She claims she wasn't drunk, and now she wants to use it as an excuse. Also, she's, I don't remember making the video. Well, then why, before they even show it to her, does she not want to see it? Why does she say, I don't know how much I can take? It's her video on her phone that she took, and she says she doesn't remember?
Just because you're drunk doesn't mean that you...
told us several times that you were not drunk. You said that you had your wits about you. You said he had his wits about you.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. In my experience, if somebody cannot remember doing something to the extent of making 2 videos and taking a photo, they are intoxicated.
Okay. I understand where you all are coming from.
Well, we're just trying to make sense of it. We're trying to figure out what you're saying.
We're trying to figure out this video.
You explain it to us. We're listening.
I just did. Like, we were playing, and then, like, I thought it was... My plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep. My plan was not to... He'll be up here.
Her plan was not to go upstairs. She walked up those stairs. I don't know if it's going to make a difference later. So I'm going to point it out just in case. So she pretends she doesn't remember doing the video, but then she says she wasn't really that drunk. So if she later says something like she had a total blackout, she doesn't remember what happened, she was so drunk out of her mind, that sort of thing, that she doesn't even remember making this video, if that's the claim, listen to her every time she tells the story. If she didn't remember doing this, how is it she remembers how they were playing, how she zipped him up, how, as she claims, she left room for his fingers. She remembers flipping him over during the time that this event takes place. She sees it on the video and says, oh yeah, that's because I flipped him over. So she can't explain something and describe something and then claim she has no memory of that thing. So I don't know if that excuse is going to come up. My understanding is she's going to try and use a different defense, but I'm just throwing that in there in case it does.
Here any minute.
But you willingly went upstairs and went to sleep. No one forced you to go upstairs and get
My
ready
plan
for
wasn't
bed.
also to leave him in the suitcase.
So why didn't you take him out?
Because I went upstairs, and then I fell asleep.
But why didn't you consciously think?
She acts like a decision she made is like an excuse. Well, because I went upstairs. Well, you decided to go up the stairs.
He's asking to come out. He
I
can't
didn't do it
breathe.
intentionally.
What do you think is gonna happen if you leave somebody in a confined space like that?
Well, I thought by not zipping it up all the way, it would be okay. My plan was not to leave him in the
And what was
suitcase,
your plan?
waiting for him to come upstairs.
And then when he did it?
I fell asleep.
You said you were up there 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, somebody not coming up.
Knowing that the last time you saw him was in the suitcase, 30 minutes later, you're like,
If she had left him in there thinking, he can get out, he'll get out and come upstairs. Let's just pretend he wasn't begging and saying he couldn't breathe, that she hadn't flipped him over and all of those other things. Well, she earlier said he's a volcano. So is she going to leave him there and just go up to bed? And this guy who she complains has been violent is just going to come upstairs and go, okay, honey, that was funny. No, this doesn't make any sense. Not only did she zip him up tight and is only mentioning leaving a space now when she's confronted. She didn't mention that before. She didn't mention before that she thought he would be upstairs. The reason she's mentioning that is because they're presenting her with evidence that she doesn't want to see, and she's trying to explain it away. And it's unreasonable to believe that she thought he would come upstairs after he was struggling to get out and pleading for her to let him out. This excuse is absolutely unbelievable.
maybe I should go check on him, maybe I shouldn't.
No.
Well, that didn't cross your mind because
That's
it
like
didn't happen.
that's like an assumption. Like, that's what you all are thinking. Just,
We're asking.
it's the
You
whole,
tell us.
it's the drinking. That's what it is. It's the drinking. I thought it was like,
In an earlier video, I said that I thought that perhaps she blames alcohol for her problems and for his problems too, for that matter. And alcohol is a nice sort of scapegoat to blame so that you don't have to look at yourself. So you don't have to look at the relationship, so you don't have to look at other things. Just blame the alcohol. There is a video of Mr. Torres in the suitcase at 11:12 p.m. Ms. Boone's claim is that she went upstairs and fell asleep. At 11:46 p.m., she called her ex-husband and woke him up. She wasn't sleeping. Not then.
that's what it is. It's the drinking. I thought it was like, I thought he was okay. Like, I didn't, that, you
He's
all.
telling you he's not. He's telling you, Sarah, I can't breathe. He's saying your name and you're like, that's my name, don't wear it out.
Guys, that's,
Look at her body language. When he says he's telling you he's not okay. She closes her shoulders and hunches right over, crosses her arms. This is an instinctual protective movement, trying to protect all her major organs. And she puts her hands up to make him stop. She doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't want to hear somebody else say what she's done. She doesn't want to face what she's done. She hasn't wanted to face her issues or her behaviors for a very long time.
how we are with each other. Like, nobody understands our relationship. The whole suitcase thing never happened before.
Would you leave someone else in a suitcase? Would you leave Lucas in a suitcase jokingly? Because it was a
No.
joking matter. You put him in there jokingly. Would you leave Lucas jokingly in there? And you love Lucas, right? And you love
I wouldn't do
George.
that to him either. I wouldn't do that to him.
So,
Except she did do that to him. She's saying, I wouldn't do that to him. She did, clearly. The other thing that I've learned is that previously Children's Services was called because she did put her son in a suitcase. Now, at that time, they determined that the child wanted to go in the suitcase and that they were joking, and the child was let out immediately. So there was no harm to the child.
I just,
Well, it's not like, again, I don't think you all understand. Like, it's not that was not my intention.
Well,
Y'all don't have any idea what
by
I've
your
done
acts,
for
though,
him.
But by your acts, and that's exactly right. You get to
There you go. She's owed, right? She's entitled. You have no idea what I've done for him. As if that justifies everything else. And no matter how much somebody does for you, it's not a license for them to abuse you.
to the point where you've done so much for somebody and they don't show
No.
you any appreciation,
He did.
not by your words in the video. I don't get that.
He did.
Because you bring up the fact that when he's choking you, you can't breathe. That's how you felt when he cheated on you. You couldn't breathe. And you verbally, several times, told him
cheated on
just,
me.
fuck you.
well, you said it in the video, but you won't
video.
let us play the rest of it because you don't
And
want to.
When I
told
say
him.
cheating, it's on his phone.
Okay. Cheating is cheating.
I
And if
think
you
so
did-
too.
All right. That's interesting. To her, cheating is him doing something on his phone. Is there an unreasonable jealousy here? Is there an unreasonable amount of control? Now, we don't know what he was doing on his phone. That's interesting.
Exactly.
It's your definition of cheating, though, so, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what the word cheat means.
And that's what you told him in the video. That I couldn't breathe when you cheated on me.
No.
That's how I felt when he said, Sarah, I can't breathe. And you told him,
I don't
fuck
know what
you.
you... This is...
What would you
life
say
changing.
if somebody told you that they had done this?
Done what?
Zipped somebody in a suitcase and went up and went to bed.
Do you all not think... So you all think that it's like, oh, good, I got him in there, now I'm going to go to sleep? Is that what you guys are trying to assume? Or trying to, like...
So there's two things here. It's the done what? She keeps doing that as if nothing happened. The man is deceased. And she says, done what? Do what? And again, with the sleeping, do you think I intended to go upstairs and go to sleep? You intended to go upstairs because you did. You were awake when you did that. You were awake when he said, I can't breathe. Let me out. And even if he could breathe, even if he was perfectly fine, the moment he says, I don't want to be in here anymore, she needed to let him out. She's trying to point to some part that she didn't intend, which is falling asleep, and skipping over everything she did intend and everything she did do. All of those things required a conscious choice. And even if she didn't intend to actually cause his death, she just intended to harm him, which is not okay. She displayed an utter disregard for his life and for his dignity and his humanity. I'm really fed up with this fell asleep thing.
Or just the video is very portraying of the opposite of what you told us.
No.
It is not leading up, it is not matching what statement you gave us in the car.
So,
And that's why we want to know.
and
the
I don't remember
injuries.
doing those.
The injuries are not consistent with what you told us.
Okay, now we're into, I don't remember doing this again. I'm having trouble believing that she doesn't remember taking this video because, again, when they went to present it, she immediately responded. She didn't want to see it. She immediately responded that there was no malice. She has described the events. She was able to say, well, I flipped him over. I mean, the list goes on. So she can't say she doesn't remember doing the things that she did. Maybe she could get away with saying, I didn't remember I took a video, or I didn't remember that I didn't delete it.
So we have a lot of inconsistencies, and this video explains itself. It really, truly does.
You don't think that I have thought about that?
Thought about the video, or thought about...
But no, again, if you don't mind, please. So you all are assuming that it's like, oh, good.
If you don't mind, please. She's saying no. They present her with the fact and she says no, when the fact is indisputable. What she wants is for them to interpret it the way she wants them to interpret it. If somebody gets away with something all the time, if she gets with Mr. Torres, if she gets away with forcing her perception and her interpretation onto him, or anybody else for that matter, and they just roll with it, or she wins, or they just shrug their shoulders and walk away, she wins, right? And so she doesn't actually have to face the possibility that maybe her interpretation isn't correct, or maybe an interpretation of things doesn't always fall in her favor. And it's a rude awakening for people when they deal with a detective who doesn't care about protecting somebody's interpretation. They want to know what the facts are.
I got him in there, now I'm going to go to sleep? Is that what you all are assuming?
Well, it's not an assumption when that's what you told us that happened.
That's what happened.
And the video,
Yeah.
I mean...
But I'm not going to say...
You thought he could
Those
get out on his
yes.
own, but the video shows that he cannot get out on his own.
But when I unzipped it with one finger.
From the outside.
But it had the hole in it.
And you're claiming that it had a paper clip, so that's what assisted you in doing it.
No.
Is what you told us.
When I had my sweatshirt, I said I thought it had a paper clip on it. It's got...
But the zipper part is broken.
Yes,
helps
which is
you
why we were
with
going to
it.
zip it.
Yeah.
I just...
You were able to unzip it from the outside very easily, because that's the way they're designed.
But you could on the inside, too. I don't know how...
Well, why wouldn't he have gotten himself out if he could? He was
I don't know.
he was
I don't know if
asking.
you saw, where the hole was. I don't know.
I didn't see a hole.
No
I
one
didn't
sees
see
the
no
hole.
fingers
You're the
sticking
only
out.
one that's what I'm saying. Like, he's in one position, and where his head would be, we should be able to see fingers.
Yeah.
And then when it's flipped over onto this right side, again, his head is closer to us facing the video, so we should be able to see fingers, and we don't see anything. We see no movement of him trying to unzip it or physically unzipping it. All we see is pushing up, trying to push out of it.
Please do not assume.
I'm not assuming. I haven't assumed anything. I follow evidence.
But my intention was not, again, oh good, I got him in there, now I'm just going to go to sleep.
What do you think someone that knows nothing about this or...
So what is she claiming her intention is? What she said so far about her intention is she wanted to make him squirm. And then after that, what was her intention? She hasn't stated that. She didn't say, I went to do X, Y, or Z. She says her intention wasn't to go upstairs and fall asleep, yet she earlier said, well, I went up to bed and I thought he would just come up. Well, then that says her intention was to leave him there and go to bed. Whether or not she fell asleep is a different thing. And remember, she called her ex at 11:46 p.m. So she was awake. He was in the suitcase at least by 11:12 p.m. Come on.
Or here's just a little bit like, oh, they were playing around in a suitcase
She's been drinking
and then watching
probably
that
went
video.
to sleep. That's what happened.
But you let him out before. I mean, you put him in, so why didn't you take him out?
Because I was upstairs and I fell asleep.
No, before you went upstairs. You like consciously had to walk upstairs. You obviously remember going to bed because you were able to give me a time frame on that. And you specifically told me that you went upstairs.
My intention is not for this to happen. I am sick about it. I've never done anything like this before in the past. I am sick, especially with that. I thought I couldn't sleep last night.
You know, I could see her being sick about this. And you'd have to talk to an American lawyer, but I know here in Canada, remorse means something. When you're remorseful and you say, you know what, I really messed up and I'm going to spare the family and society a trial and I'm going to plead guilty and hope the court has mercy. And maybe even, how do I deal with my issues? How do I figure out, how I got to this point? But that's not what she's doing.
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. You tell us the last night, you vividly remember this when you told us last night, that he was laughing, you were laughing, you put him in the suitcase, he has 2 fingers sticking out, and you go to bed. Now we see something totally different, and it actually shows you upset and, again, using derogatory terms to him when he's begging for his life to get out of that suitcase.
So
what
my thing
you
is
say
that
we're assuming, we're not assuming,
but
we're
the
telling you
fingers,
what's on there.
so it just happened to be that whenever I was videotaping or doing whatever else it was, just happened to not have that in it.
Okay. And you also, in the video, you can't see any holes. There's nowhere in that where the zipper separates and you can see a hole. If there's a hole, he's pushing on it, begging you to get out. We should probably see that hole that
He
you're
essentially
talking
would have
about.
been able to get out.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Based off what you're telling us, he should have been
Yes.
able to get out.
Okay.
But the video shows him attempting to get out, begging to get out, and he can't. So that's just what we're trying to figure out. I don't know if maybe you had too much to drink, you zipped it up all the way, and then,
I did not zip it up all the way.
Okay, well.
The
I
video
did
shows
not zip it
otherwise.
up all the way. This is horrific, okay? Horrific.
It is terrible.
Yeah, somebody lost their life.
Horrific. I don't think I'll ever be right because of this. Ever be right. Dealing with everything else that I have in my life, personally. And then this,
Okay.
whom I loved, it was not intentional. I will put my hand on the Bible. It was not intentional. I would not do that to him nor anyone else.
But you did.
He's right, but you did. And when she says it was not intentional, I really think that she didn't actually intend for him to die. I think that's the part that's unintentional, but only to a point, because she was aware that it could have caused his death. And she walked away anyway.
Intentional.
You intentionally went up to bed.
I didn't intentionally
left
go to
him.
bed because I'm thinking, okay,
Hold
good,
on,
he can
hold
get
on.
out.
How did you not intentionally go to bed? You said you went up to...
So first she says it's not intentional and I didn't intend to go up and go to sleep. So when she can't get out of that, because she did intend to go upstairs, now the story changes a little bit to, but he could get out. Which is it?
upstairs and got into bed. That's intentionally going to bed.
Waiting for him.
And he doesn't come, but you don't go down to check on him.
So I happen to go to sleep. When I say go to sleep,
And what do you
it goes
normally do
off
when you go
whatever
to
you're
bed?
gonna do.
What do you normally do when you go to bed?
What do you mean?
What is a bed for? Going to sleep.
Right.
So you go to
But
bed to
obviously
do
you
what?
can tell too that, like, I've
You
been
go to
drinking
bed
also.
to do what? Okay. You kept telling us, hey, I wasn't intoxicated, I wasn't this, I wasn't that.
Being drunk and intoxicated, which, yes,
Okay.
you can tell that I had been drinking, but
Okay. So if you weren't intoxicated, then why would you ever leave somebody in a suitcase that's begging to get out, that's telling you they can't breathe?
if I hadn't been drinking, you still think it would be the same thing? Where it's like, hop in, I'm going to go to sleep. Is that what you all are trying to do?
She wants to deny the intoxication when it reflects somehow, or when she thinks it reflects somehow on her. But at the same time, she wants to use the intoxication when it benefits her. Alcohol is a scapegoat. Is it a problem for her? Yes, it is. But it's also a convenient scapegoat.
To
We're
portray
not
me
trying
as?
to do anything. I'm simply asking you to explain to me what happened.
Everything was fine and dandy.
I wouldn't call
Everything
it fine and dandy.
was fine and dandy.
Explain
You
to
all
me how.
don't, okay,
Every time she says everything was fine, nobody laid a hand on anybody, we were laughing, everything was good, start keeping track of those. Remember those. Because she can't say it's fine and then later say it wasn't and I needed to leave him in there.
for me to tell you this, again, mind you, I've been without him for a day now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I mean, I don't know what you all want me to tell you, because this was not in any way, shape, or form
The female detective there is playing the video. So Sarah, they can't force her to look at it, right? But that sound is in the room. She has to face what she did. And this tactic, I think, is really good. It's applying pressure to her. I wonder how long it's going to take her to turn around and ask them to turn it off.
and on the Bible, intentional.
Okay. So you just left
I
him there
didn't
to
kill
teach
him.
You left him there to teach him a
That's on
lesson?
you.
I didn't mean to leave him there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You got up and walked away. How is that not intentionally leaving him there?
Because I'm looking at the hole, knowing that it's there. He'll get out and no harm.
Reel around.
Because you
And
don't.
then he doesn't,
but
but you don't go check on him.
Right, that's that.
You say you're up.
She's looking at the hole, so she claims, that isn't there, and they can see that on the video. After he's begged to get out, after he said he couldn't breathe, after she flipped that suitcase all over the place, she's had all kinds of opportunities to come clean. And the more she talks, the more she digs herself into a hole. The detectives could have just taken this video and said, there you go. I mean, you chose to walk away. Now we have this video. Plus we have the conversation with Brian saying that you called him at 11:46 p.m., the timestamp on the video where Mr. Torres is in the suitcase. This is 11:12. We see there's no hole. All of this, they could just take the evidence they have. It's enough to lay the charges. It's enough to get a conviction. But they're letting her talk some more. They're confronting her with this and letting her talk some more and letting her provide her excuses and then confronting her with how that doesn't make sense. And so she comes up with something else. And the more she talks, the more she contradicts herself and the more she reveals.
Up for 30 minutes and he doesn't come up. You don't go down and check on him?
I'm in the bed.
You even move,
And dozed off.
you admit to moving the suitcase, like, over. So
You roll it.
you roll it over, like, it's not like
I didn't want it to be like that. Don't.
What?
you didn't want him to be upside down. How do you even get upside down?
Right.
Fuck you.
You guys are killing me right now.
I just want you to
Probably
hear.
should.
Hang on a second. So she raised her voice at that point. That was important. I think I need to go back. Because her protestation there was important to her. Sorry, guys.
minutes and he doesn't come up, you don't go down and check on him?
I'm in the bed.
You even move,
And so
I
it's
mean,
off.
you admit to moving the suitcase, like, over, so.
You roll it.
You roll it over, like, it's not like.
I didn't want it to be like that.
She didn't want him to be like that. And look at the look on her face. Was he dead already? There's something up with that. If he was still alive, and she went up to bed, and before she went up, she flipped that suitcase because she didn't want... She's horrified. If he was still alive and she went upstairs to bed, she doesn't want it to be like that. She doesn't want him to be like that. So she flipped him over before she went. I mean, she knows she's walking away, and she positioned it before she, in preparation for walking away. I think there's some things that we might not ever know, and she's not going to tell us. But there's something right there.
Don't.
You didn't want him to be upside down? How do you even get upside down?
Right.
Fuck you.
You guys are killing me right now.
I just want you to
Probably
hear.
shut the fuck up.
That's how he talks to me most of the time. I don't know how you want me to say it.
I'm just trying to figure out what you would expect to happen to somebody when you leave them in a suitcase.
I didn't mean to leave him in there.
Oh, man. I thought for a second when she said, I don't know how you want me to say it, I was hoping they'd just be quiet. I thought maybe she was going to come up with a way to say it.
What's your reasoning for not calling 911 sooner?
Because I didn't know what to do and how horrific it was. I called Ryan, and 5 minutes later I called you guys? Not even 5 minutes. Nonetheless,
Brian called her. She did call him subsequent to that. So he called her. She told him what was going on. He told her to call 911, and she didn't. She called him about 5 minutes later. Still hadn't called 911. If there was any chance of saving this man, it was gone. I suspect there was not. And her earlier reaction, I didn't want it to be like that. I don't know. I'm wondering if he passed away before and she knew that. I don't know.
but I had to I was trying to do CPR. I had to get him out and try to do CPR, and then called you guys. And then was continually doing CPR with the dispatch on the phone, where he had me count out loud to help me focus on what I was doing.
I will leave it here for now. To be continued. Thank you for watching.